I mean, they said, here, Gen X nerd boys jerk off to this, and by God, we did. Hi there, and welcome to Hav and Charles Talk Comics. This is Charles Herring. I am one of your hosts, and I'm here with my very good friend, Javier Gonzalez, to talk to you about the fourth episode of Season 3 tonight. Hi, Jav. How you doing?
I'm good, Charles. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm so excited to be doing this. We were supposed to be doing this last week, and because of things, we didn't, so now we're here this week. One of those things was I hadn't finished reading.
Yeah, but it happens for a good reason.
Yes.
So, yeah, no, I was looking forward to it last week. Of course, I'm looking forward to it this week. It's already been, I'm going to just be just like water cooler guy. It's been a long week. It's Thursday night. We're recording this. I thought I should have been, it felt Friday-ish yesterday. And I'm just so ready for not to work for a couple days. So there's that.
So what you're saying is you're calling in sick tomorrow?
I wish I could. I wish I could. But no. So no, this is something that's a very nice respite in the middle of the week to look forward to. So yeah, I don't know if we have any housekeeping,
No.
or anything like that. Otherwise, I was just going to jump into it.
I think we should jump into it.
So I suggested we read Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters from 2006. And you suggested we read The Good Asian from all the way back in 2021.
That is correct.
So let me get my abacus out and do some calculations here.
And figure out which one came out first?
Yeah, so let me carry the 5. There's a 1 there. I'm going to say Freedom Fighters was first by a few years.
Yeah, just a few. But
so yeah,
it is in the new millennium.
It is. It's got a 2 in front of it.
Yes.
I had this on my short list of things to suggest, I swear to God, since season 1.
Okay. So what is it about Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters that makes you want to do it? Had you read it before?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is it about that? Because you keep bringing up Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters, not like in a weird way, but it's just something you bring up. And until you brought it up originally, I'd never heard of it.
So I read this when it came out. Like, this is when I was still picking up comic books on a pull list. And for some reason, I knew just Jimmy Palmiotti, the writer, one of the writers on it, from something else, and was like, ooh, that's cool. And then I remember Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters when I would randomly pick up a Justice League of America comic book from the late 70s and early 80s, before I was like a serious comic book collector kid in middle school. They would always do those annual crossovers with the JSA, right? Every once in a while.
I'm agreeing just because I only know this because of recent things. So back then I did not know they did that.
Okay. I did know that because that's where I fell in love with, for example, Captain Midnight and his Captain Midnight, Dr. Midnight, and his costume with his owl. And you got to see, Dr. Fate when he was part of that group, and just the old Green Lantern, old Flash. Every once in a while during that annual crossover, because it was always, between two Earths, at least once or twice, Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters from their Earth, Earth X, I think is what it was. And you mentioned last time, the Earth that Uncle Sam, their Earth before Crisis on Infinite Earths, is my understanding, the Nazis essentially won, and they were still fighting for freedom up until the 70s. No? I can't hear you. Yeah. So like I was saying, from back then, I remember seeing Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters. And then when this came out, yeah, I mean, internet was around. So I did a deep dive on Uncle Sam and the Freedom. I think it was Quality Comics. He's a Golden Age character, Uncle Sam. And you got him fighting Nazis back then, 40s, 50s, and then kind of went away. And then Quality Comics went away, and then apparently they were bought by DC, and then he starts making these appearances from Earth X. Again, I think it's Earth X. And then after Crisis, guess what? On Infinite Earths, they're all in the same universe, but they're never really used very much, unfortunately, in my opinion. And just this iteration, I've used iteration twice, I think. This version of him, if it's different than his original, I don't know. Just that he's the spirit of America.
Yeah, I got that out of it.
and I think it's a cool character and a cool idea.
Okay.
Then the other characters are just really good characters. I hadn't seen. It's just something new and shiny and new to me, even though they're all old characters
I,
and different.
I only had one real problem with it because I don't like how they changed it to be so political. Because I'm sure, because comics have not been. I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
No, that was it. That was the joke. The running joke we've done from, I don't know, like literally the first episode that we did.
Yeah.
So
no, look, it's uber political. This came out in 2006. This is in the middle of and
well,
Iraq.
It's even uber political to the point of they have an actual fascist thing going on that they're talking about, and then they're excoriating a guy for being liberal in part of the group, and they said, oh, well, it's not about the sides. Motherfucker, you've got one side that's fascist, and you're attacking a liberal in your group. But there's no other political discussion except the group of pseudo-fascists that make up the spirit of America. Sorry. Or I'm sorry. It was very political.
No, it is very much so.
Including the illegal alien who takes over the country.
Yeah. And artificial intelligence.
Yes. It was ahead of its time on that.
I didn't even ask you. Did you like it?
I did. I enjoyed it. Yeah. It was. I made a joke about it, but it was a little overdone on the political stuff.
Oh yeah, they didn't back off.
It's just like, good Lord Almighty, including Uncle Sam. Well, this isn't about politics; it's about America. It's like, motherfucker, America is just politics. That's the whole point of America is politics. I enjoyed it. It was an interesting read. It is definitely outside of my interests. What with being a massive group book, a massive event type thing on top of that.
I think it was coming off of a massive event thing. I think they were kind of featured in an event, if I remember, and they were kind of this is all from memory. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, "Oop, let's spin them off into a book." And I don't know. I think it must have done okay because there's a second volume.
Okay.
That comes out, I think, almost immediately after this one.
Really? I didn't know that. I thought that was the last one. Wow, words hard. I didn't see that it rolled to another one, or is it just a completely different?
There's a next volume the next year.
Okay, so it was like a year later they came out with another, starting over at 1.
Yeah,
because what I'm saying is, when I finished reading, it didn't go to the next one like it was like it's the series.
No, I got you. No.
So it's a second mini-series.
Yeah, that's what they did. I think they did a couple different series.
Okay, so when you suggested it, I did find something at the actual public library that I pulled because it was actually on Earth X, and it's a more recent thing that they did on Earth X with the freedom fighters. And the Earth X is the one where the Nazis won.
Right.
So that would be them fighting the Nazis, actually fighting the Nazis on Earth X. And I got it delivered to the library and never picked it up for reasons that I haven't had time. So they've probably taken it back because I was going to read that. I was like, oh, okay, let's play in that world, since even though they did Crisis on Infinite Earths, they then went back and had all of the universes again.
Yeah.
Which we'll delve into on our next episode.
Ooh, a little teaser there. No, yeah. Did you? So you had mentioned at the end of the last podcast when you were kind of looking this up, or maybe we weren't still recording.
We weren't.
That there was a more recent. Is that the volume we're talking about where they're still on Earth X and they're fighting the Nazis?
Well, they're on Earth
X
fighting the Nazis. Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't read it. I may dig it up since I got the DC thing and just read it on there because I do like to read on the iPad instead of the actual hard copies.
Yeah. So it is very political. So it's gotten so bad. There's a presidential election going on, and this one senator is probably going to win, and this robot just like punches a hole through his chest and says, "I'm going to be you now."
Well, there was a little more to the reason. There's a group within the country that is a meta group that is to do things for the government.
Shade.
Yes, and this man said he was going to, the senator that's running for president and was leading in the polls, said he was going to pass a law that would give them a lot of power over the metas and a lot of power over the U.S. it then turns out he told them, ha ha ha, no, I'm not going to pass that. As a matter of fact, when I get elected, I'm going to gut this, which is actually a good thing because the law is, I mean, it was the Patriot Act for metas and on steroids. And that's when he says, oh, well, ha ha ha. And they kill him and they replace him with a robot.
Whose name is Gonzo, apparently.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And and the senator that's about to be president that they kill is the dad of Phantom Lady, who, just to go down this little trail, that's the character that they turn into Silk Spectre in Watchmen.
Oh, okay.
From Quality, because all the Watchmen characters are Quality Comics characters.
I thought they were Charlton then. I thought
maybe
the ones he used were Charlton. Well, no, I'm just saying for that, weren't those Charlton comics that were Watchmen?
You now that you say it out loud, you're right.
Okay, so maybe she came from there, and some of these others came. But, well, they could also have come. The other ones can come from Quality, because remember, DC doesn't respect anything, including the fact that they didn't buy any of this shit. You keep saying they bought Quality No, they probably didn't buy shit. They just probably started printing it, and everybody's like, "Oh, they must have bought it." Because the comic world was
yeah. You know what? You're right. I want to say I think I know that Phantom Lady was the, but I'm not going to Google it because I don't want to click. But
okay, you can Google it. We'll take the 20 minutes of your clicking and.
Well, no, there's other stuff. So Shade is run by Father Time, which is also a cool bad guy, I think.
Well, he was. By the end, you can't even decide if he was a bad guy or not. No, don't get me wrong. He's a bad guy.
He's a bad person, but he thinks he's a good guy. He did all this on purpose.
Literally everything. At the end, he played that bullshit of, oh no, I meant for them to win in the end, so we would get what I really wanted, which is, motherfucker, you're evil, and stop trying to make yourself pretend that you're not.
A lot of people died, dude. Because of what you set in motion. Okay, so you had just the other characters: Phantom Lady, Doll Man, which I think is a great character. I don't know why, I just do. Okay. Just a weird, because he's like Ant-Man, but he can't get big. He's always small.
Oh yeah, because he's 6 inches of power.
So yeah.
What?
Okay.
What?
I just waited for you to make one of your jokes.
What is wrong with saying 6 inches of power?
Nothing.
I mean, good Lord. You know, there are women out there that would... Never mind.
Okay, see? You couldn't help yourself. You couldn't help yourself. You couldn't. Then you got Human Bomb, who is just a literal... I'm stealing your thunder here. Literally a human bomb. Nuke.
He can go nuclear. I don't think he always does, because remember he said, I'm going to go nuclear. So I think he can pop off at different levels.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Yeah. No, you're nothing. No, I'm just saying it's a weird power. It's just, I mean, he's in a one of those, not even hazmat, like radioactive suits.
He has to have a special drugs to not prematurely explode.
Yes.
And they spend a lot of time talking about the fact that he could pop at any time.
They do. Go ahead.
No, it's just a weird character.
Okay. And then the Ray, who is just a self-indulgent, narcissistic, chauvinistic.
Why are you looking at me when you're talking about this shit?
Well, because this is how we do the podcast.
That's how we do. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were
not because any of that applies to you at all. No, the Ray, and then what is great is that then the Ray gets to come up, it's because the original Ray comes out of retirement or something at the end, and puts him in his place. And I don't know, I enjoy the reread a lot. Well, I know it's super. By the way, if anybody reads this, just get ready, because it is heavy-handed, which I almost feel like it had to. Everybody was so rah-rah back then.
Jesus fuck! If you're gonna have Uncle Sam be a character, it has to be heavy-handed. You can't say you have the spirit of America fighting for America and not have it heavy. I mean, that right there is just that's heavy-handed.
That's a very, very good point.
No, they leaned. I will give them credit. They leaned into it.
There was the government agent. You know, they had that first group that doesn't go well, and then they have that really steroided out looking flat top wearing guy that was just so over the top. I'll kill for America no matter what. And then Uncle Sam like knows stuff about him that gets him all weepy, or not weepy, but just like, hey, I remember when you were 7 there, and I don't know. It's just, I just liked it. I don't know. There was all that. Who else am I missing? Oh, the weird Black Condor. It's like the spirit of the Native Americans. There's that aspect of it. Was
he Black Condor?
I don't know. I'm making stuff up now. What was his name?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Black? No, he was Black Condor.
I was not
positive. Yeah, and so he is uber powerful too.
Oh yeah,
So,
he's definitely OP'd a bit. I mean, just all of them have just all this power. And then they had the one woman that they'd faked, and then the real one came back because she had pretended to age with her husband,
yeah, Miss America.
Miss America, and then she came back and she was just loving killing all these bad people. She was like, "Oh, this is great. I'm so glad I came back." She's like, "Now that my husband's dead, I can go back to being a hot piece of ass and fighting for America."
Yeah, and she knew Uncle Sam from back in the day.
I would like
And, well,
to
because
I
there's a
would hold on.
robot that replaced her.
Hold on. I would like to very briefly say that that was just a joke about the hot piece of ass. That was I feel that that was a slightly misogynistic statement. I did not mean it that way. I was rolling. I apologize, Hav. I know you're sensitive.
You did mean it that way, but as a joke.
Mm,
I mean,
yes.
yeah. I mean, it was.
I
I know you're joking.
Jude,
I know that.
this part was a joke too. Keep going.
Okay. So, what else? I'm trying to think. So, okay, I talked briefly. Written by Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti, art and cover by Daniel Acuna. I dug all the writing. I know it's heavy-handed, but like you said, very good point. Like I'm apologizing. There's a lot of It's called Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters. So guess what you're going to get. So I enjoyed it. The writing, then the art, I thought it was great. I liked the painted cover stuff and very distinctive. I dare say now this is Daniel Acuna is one of those that I don't know a lot that he's done, but I feel like if you see his art, you know it's him. Pretty darn distinctive. There was also, let's see if there's any other main players I'm forgetting. Please forgive me. But I know it was something interesting. It was Senator Knight, then President. It was Senator Knight they killed, and then Knight. He's the dad of. Did I already say that? He's Phantom Lady's dad. I may have said that.
Yes, you said that.
Okay, there was something else. Oh, reading about the background behind this. So borrowed from notes by the great. And I didn't know this before I read this. The great Grant Morrison had outlined apparently this story.
Oh, really?
And Jimmy Palmiotti and Justin Gray were like, "Thank you very much, Maestro. We're gonna run with this." And because the character fight, because it's the notes I read, or some probably from the Wikipedia page, was that Uncle Sam is kind of like, not kind of, is a Christ-like figure coming back from the dead. He's been gone for a while. Firebrand, that young kind of whippersnapper superhero that's first going up against the robot and everything. It gets captured.
Mm-hmm.
Firebrand is his John the Baptist, proclaiming the coming of Uncle Sam. Yeah. Again, I'm not making. It's not like I came up with this theory. I read it from a Wikipedia page. So take it with a grain of salt. It's Wikipedia. But I thought it was interesting. Now, even in the notes, I saw the notes a couple places from a idea or a plot, a concepts based by Grant Morrison. So there is that. I don't know. There's not much to it, I guess. Any other things from your looking at it?
Well,
did you read this?
I did read this.
No, I don't know. I don't know that like it was a pretty quick read. I felt like
it was, yeah. There was some funny stuff in it. There was a scene with I don't know if it's the Ray and the little tiny guy. The little tiny guy goes, "That's impossible." The other one said the 6-inch soldier with a rocket pack.
Yeah, Doll Man. His name is Doll Man.
Doll Man. Okay. There was some eye rolling stuff. Uncle Sam at one point talks about these dark things bring chaos and destruction. They are math magicians of the anti-life equation. And this machine is one of their constructs. Math magicians of the anti-life equation.
Well, the anti-life equation's a big deal in the DC universe.
I know, and it's dumb.
Oh, hot sports opinion.
No, it's not. The anti-life equation is dumb.
You hated Cosmic Odyssey. Gosh darn it. That was the bad guy in Cosmic Odyssey.
What is the anti-life equation, Toph?
It's just death. Be quiet. Don't overthink it, okay? Don't overthink it. Don't do. Stop it.
Why do you need a math magician to put a bullet in the back of somebody's skull?
Whoa, not a bullet. Nothing so crude as that. We're talking about destroying all life in the universe.
Why?
Because that's their goal. Because they're weird. They're bad guys, Charles. Don't again.
Well, I mean, even Thanos didn't want to destroy all life in the universe. He just wanted to destroy half the life in the universe because he doesn't know how to share.
Well, he does, and he didn't think of just creating more resources. If you're talking about the MCU, in the comic books, he just wanted to get into,
he wants to fuck Death.
Into Lady Death's pants.
Yeah, he wants to fuck Death.
Yeah,
I mean, and she's a bony piece of ass, but whatever.
If you're into the Waif fan.
I don't kink shame much.
So yeah, there's again. I think this was coming off an event, and I wish. I wish I.
Let's see. Father Time discovered the astronaut fetus and started up something he called the Gonzo Project. He educated the machine and exposed it to every bit of recorded human history. It absorbed knowledge at an incredible rate.
Yeah.
They had a whole nother team that had the Americommando.
That was that flat top guy.
That was the flat top guy, and you'll meet Barracuda and Railgun later. This was some serious. It was hilarious. The fake president, the robot president.
Yeah.
When they said who it was, I loved this. Oh no, you discovered my secret. Whatever shall I do? I know. I'll kick you repeatedly in the birth canal until you hemorrhage. Won't that be fun?
They kill somebody. They kill one of the heroes, the Invisible Hood. They kill.
Yeah.
He comes to their rescue, and then, boom, dead. That was a Quality Comics character that they decided to just kill. That seemed like it was a very nice.
Oh, they had a great moment between two superheroes in the big battle. One goes, "Who are you?" She replies, "I'm the Red Bee. Sorry, I've never heard of you." "That's okay. I'm new."
Yeah, I'm new. Like, okay, whoops-a-daisy.
Yeah, this was the whole.
It was corny.
Yeah,
you can say it was corny.
It was fine. Yeah, it definitely was. Okay, so here's the thing. It had a lot of the problems with team books. There was too many people. They all had to have different things. You had the one guy who you said was John the Baptist that kept trying to fuck Phantom Lady.
Yeah, Firebrand was his name.
Okay. And kept trying to, just the whole thing was sexually harassing her. And then she tried to jump all over Black Condor, and he poo-pooed her because he didn't just have sex. He needed to feel love or something to that nature. There was a great interaction between Firebrand and Phantom Lady, though, that she made some comment about staring or something. He says, I wasn't. I just never met a girl like you before. And she goes, You were, but it's okay. You're cute. I'd make out with you, but I can tell you fall hard for girls. I'd break your heart and walk all over you. He replied, what if I like that in a woman? Then you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Which, that's actually fair.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I sound like
okay. Don't try to convince yourself.
No. I truly did enjoy it. It was one of those. It's one of these comics that just was maybe too much. Does that make sense? It was just so full of what it was trying to do. It was just like, good Lord. I don't know. Let's put it this way. Although I might still read the one where they're on Earth X, I don't think I'd read a second volume of this one. There was not a single one of those characters that I was intrigued with. They all seemed to have been the kind of character that was made in response to somebody else making a character back in the Golden Age, that they're like, oh, well, let's make our version of this. And then
I can see that.
And then that just was the slightly less good character. They had a slower Flash, didn't they? At one point have a slower Flash.
That was the Ray.
The Ray. Okay, the Ray was the slower.
And he can fly.
Okay.
Light powers of some type. The bomb, there's some that are Uncle Sam's unique. Uncle Sam's Uncle Sam.
Captain America.
Uncle Sam's the spirit of America.
Captain America.
And then Dollman predates Ant-Man and the Atom.
Okay.
He's just 6 inches and can't get bigger. And then, so what's her face? Phantom Lady is from Quality. I was confusing her with Nightshade from Charlton Comics.
Okay.
That's where they get Silk Spectre. But then I know, just looking at it here, apparently Alan Moore was borrowing from Nightshade, Black Canary, and Phantom Lady to do his version of Silk Spectre 2 and 1 from that.
I actually
I get it. It was, look, it is over the top. It was very, God, I hate it. It was of its time, even for early 2006.
I liked Phantom Lady, although I didn't like the kind of, we're going to make her the drunken, hoary celebrity superhero.
But she even kind of plays that off and says she's doing that to stop people from getting too close.
I understand.
She's super smart.
But they still did that.
Okay.
I can dislike a part of something. Settle down.
No.
Just because you can't dislike anything doesn't mean other people can't.
There you go. Okay. As long as we're on the same page on that. Jesus. How long did it take you to figure that out?
Oh, since the lowest year 5-star only use what scale goes is 4.
No, I did a 3.
Oh,
I did
that's
a
right.
3.
The first time you introduced it, you went below what I would ever assume.
Yeah, I did a 3. Gosh darn it, there was something else, and one other part that was interesting to me was this weird interdimensional hideout Uncle Sam has.
Yeah, yeah,
on the farm
in a dimension.
in the out of time, out of place in the Midwest.
In the Midwest in the 1800s.
Where he can transport buildings, apparently.
He can transport whatever he wants.
And also Doll Man is regular size.
Is a regular size guy.
So he can hook up with his lady friend scientist.
So he can actually get laid.
So that was nice, I thought. And a cool aspect of it.
Yeah, it was a neat little thing. Because they can just hide out there and cower from the badness. But they didn't. They brought the fight to the baddies.
They did.
And they triumphed over evil by trusting the original bad guy.
The original Father Time actually was pulling all the strings the whole time. It was all his, he was 17 steps ahead of them.
Yeah, there was a whole other thing that they were going to microchip everybody in the country that would control them.
Okay. See that you're bringing up stuff that I'm remembering why it was because this is also okay.
No,
9/11. Then you get the Patriot Act. Then all any semblance of any kind of privacy we had went away. You had all the we always had the secret courts where they could get wiretaps for national security reasons, but the Patriot Act stripped it down even more bare bones. So that back then, going to a point where everybody's voluntarily getting microchipped. Or voting for somebody that's going to push that through, not so crazy. Like, look, we got to stop the terrorists.
It's the only reason Bush got a second term.
Yeah, the reason we got to do this is, hey, America.
Yeah,
these colors don't run, and we don't like foreigners and brown people. Watch out. So, yeah, which we'll get to that in a second with foreigners.
I don't know about brown people, but okay.
But foreigners. Sure.
Yes, definitely foreigners. And America and its wonderful ability to welcome people in and take them into their bosom without doing them harm. Because that's what America is known for. Give us your weak, your tired, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, and we will fucking stomp their neck into the ground. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it was making me think back to that time period. It really was, which isn't that terribly long ago. And, it's less than 20 years ago, obviously. And, it'll be 20 years and 3 more years. But it's just interesting. And that's when a lot of times when I read these comic books, I'm like, that's a long time ago. Yeah, but no, it's really not. And segregation wasn't really that long ago. If you go back a little further, Jim Crow isn't that long ago. So
today, hold on. You want to do something? The woman that caused Emmett Till to get murdered died today.
Oh my gosh. Wow. See? Yeah. Yeah. No, the fact that my mom remembers segregated movie theaters in San Antonio when she was a kid.
My mom remembers 2 water fountains in the South as a kid.
Yeah.
And the 2 different uncles she had, the one that let her drink from whichever water fountain she wanted and the one that would have been horrified.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe it. Now that's it. I got nothing more.
Okay.
For this.
No, it was a fun read. I don't regret reading it, and I just don't have a lot to say about it. It was, like I said, heavy-handed for fun because it needed to be. And I do agree with you. You're right. They really teeing off on what was going on at the time.
Right. Which, speaking of what was going on at the time back then, early to mid 2000s, and I didn't make this note, but I did think about it because I started watching Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined one with Edward James Olmos. And I think we've talked about that before. The first few seasons were just great.
Yes.
But they also were leaning into things that were going on back then through a sci-fi lens, especially when they get to the suicide bombing, season where they're occupied and they're reversing the whole suicide bombing thing where they're the ones suicide bombing the Cylons because they're wanting to be free.
Yeah.
From back then, that was very topical going on with Middle East and things that were going on, IEDs, etc. So it made me think of that because when I was watching it, I was like, oh wow, it's reminding me of what was going on back then. That's why this was such a big deal.
Yeah.
And maybe why that show was so good and maybe why I enjoyed this comic book so much. So one other random stray thought I had there at the end.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Sometimes things really hit you hard when they're at the right time.
Yeah.
I like I said, there's a lot of good stuff in there. It's kind of a fun comic book. There's an enormous amount going on. I kind of like a little less going on. I don't like all of the huge fight scenes because it was one huge fight scene after another.
Yeah.
Which is not as up my alley as I want. I want more quippy and I don't know, character development as opposed to the other. So that's about all I got to say about it. I'm sorry. I think you should.
Fine.
I think you should choose better. No, I'm just kidding. This was good.
Look, I didn't think it was the best thing I've picked. It's just sometimes I pick stuff out that I remember, and I enjoyed rereading it because it made me think about all that stuff.
That's cool.
But I did talk about, when we're talking about freedom fighters just now, Uncle Sam, and speaking of how the U.S. treats immigrants.
You want to just roll right into it? You don't want to hear about the mail?
Oh no! What? Go ahead.
We don't have any.
Son of a bitch. No, I'm sad. And the chicken's sad. Hope you're happy. You made chicken sad. Yeah, I was just going to roll into it.
Okay. So I suggested we read a comic book called The Good Asian that takes place in 1936 in San Francisco with an Asian detective from Honolulu. What'd you think of it?
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first, I was a little worried. I don't know why.
Okay.
It was going to be too slow.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be too over the top, but it wasn't. It was good. It's Edison Hark is the protagonist. From Honolulu, Chinese American. But did he grow up in San Francisco and then move to Honolulu? Or was he born?
He grew up in Honolulu. His mother was a maid within the rich family that he's hooked
The Caraways.
up. The Caraways was a maid there, and she was murdered, and they kind of took him in on a pineapple farm in Hawaii.
Okay, thank you.
I think it was a pineapple farm because back in those days, that was really a real colonialism. We took over colonizing. We took over Hawaii, and a bunch of white people owned everything. So that
it just always reminds me of that Eddie Izzard stand-up where it's like, I claim this for England.
Mm-hmm.
We will cultivate this land. Excuse me, who are you? Do you mind? I'm claiming this for the king. And it's like, oh my God, look at them running around with their little loincloths. That's from the Eddie Izzard stand-up. It's funny. No, there's a history of this.
No, I know. I've seen the Eddie Izzard stand-up. Normally, you're better at that than you were there.
Anyways,
I mean, you missed the whole thing. Well, do you have a flag? Oh, I'm sorry, no flag, no country, according to the rules I've just made up. I mean, God, dude.
No, that's a good part. But I just remember them going and look at what is with all these feathers. Oh my God, it was just really fun. No, I know. Hey. Colonialism, colonizers, all that. Set in 1936, because on the first page of the first issue, one of the first pages of the first issue is like 1936, and they showed the Golden Gate Bridge and like Alcatraz, which is really cool. They also, they lead in with that, and then they go through the history of, there you go. They also go through 1882 right off the bat.
Yeah, the whole history of the Chinese Exclusion Act, where the American people, see if this sounds political, the American people felt that a recession happened because the Chinese were coming over and taking their jobs.
It was actually a depression, not the Great Depression in 1874.
Yes. And so they did the Chinese Exclusion Act to make
1882.
So you could, I was not aware that the test needed dates, so that they would keep the Chinese out. Then the earthquake of 1906 destroyed pretty much every record in Chinatown. So everyone there pretty much said, no, we were born here. Yep. And then by the time they had kids, they were able to have a more established group in Chinatown that really was born here, and they could continue to bring people in. And as you can imagine, I'm sure, thinking back of the early 1900s, it was racist as fuck. So they had to kind of band together to take care of themselves.
Well, then they talk about the 6 companies that formed essentially the pseudo, not even shadow government. It's them governing themselves through these 6 companies. To go further, though, 1882 is the U.S. ban on Chinese immigrants, and they expanded in 1924, apparently the Johnson-Reed Act, to ban all Asians and those rascally Arabs, because let's just group them all together. But then by that time, like you said, and then the faking of the documents. When that fire happened, then everybody was real, oh no, this is my name, and this is, I have this cousin that's from there. So I think that because there was some way to get people in the country, if you had somebody born here, you could bring over a it was,
yeah, you could generally anytime American citizens can bring relatives over from other countries in certain situations.
yeah.
It's just like you can fly to Asia or Europe and meet a woman and marry them and to get them in the country as your wife.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you did that.
Well, as far as you know, I didn't. As far as you know, I don't have a second wife
in Canada
somewhere else either. So I've said too much already. Turn this off. Stop the recording. Stop the camera. Turn off the camera. So yeah. So Edison Hark is raised by the Caraways. You find out through these. It's only 4 or 5 issues long, this first arc, and they jam a lot of information in here about him, his essentially part of the family, but not. And then he has a falling out with, I think, Mason Carraway's the patriarch, his father figure. They have a falling out because Edison gets drunk and they have an argument. Do you remember that? And Mason hits him.
Yeah, Mason hits him because he made a comment about his mom. I don't know if it's just because he got drunk. You'll find out. Oh, you're going to read the next volume. Never
don't
mind.
spoil. Never for reals, don't spoil.
Yeah, no, I won't. There's some other stuff going on. He's buddies with the son. He has an estranged relationship with the daughter. She's angry with him.
Yes.
For showing up.
But he has a thing for her.
Yeah, the father is in a coma, and the son contacts him in Honolulu and asks him to come out. So when we first meet Edison Harkness, he is at basically a holding area, and I forget what it's called. And it's a real place. And what it's where all the immigrants would be stashed to prove if they should get in. And the Asians would be stuck there much longer because they would have to just jump through enormous numbers of hoops to be able to get in the country. And this was a guy with paper too. So is it Eddie Caraway?
His buddy. His buddy's Eddie. That's the son.
Yeah, the son. So Eddie Caraway finally shows up after he'd been there for a while, and they're like, "Well, you should have told us he was with you." So they bring him out of there, and it is just a hardcore noir detective because he's openly not a good guy. He's not really as bad as he thinks he is because he's straddling 2 worlds.
Yep.
So he thinks he's a much worse person because of that, because he is doing these things that the white people does, and they're all shocked that he has a badge, and he's like, well, you don't understand it. They're like, Asians don't get badges. I'm saying Asians, and that's not what the term they use in the comic.
Well, okay, correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not going to say Oriental because times have changed.
Okay, no, there's all sorts of terms they're using here.
Yes.
I don't know.
I'm certainly not going to say coolies.
I was going to say coolies. I don't know the CHINC chink. They say.
Did they? I missed that one.
Yeah,
okay.
There was that. They call them slants.
Yeah, it's racist, but this is not racist for hey, let's be racist. This is racist for let's be topical of the time. This is the way it was.
No, okay. Speaking of, I didn't think he's a bad guy. I think he's.
I'm saying he thinks he's a bad guy.
Okay.
His internal dialogue says he thinks he's a bad guy. Over and over and over about this one thing, this straddling these 2 worlds.
Well, and he's also a cop, which
yes.
is rare. And okay, I was going to ask this: Chinese American? Was he born here? I never got clear.
He was not. No, it was 1936. If he was born here, he was born in Hawaii. I suspect he was born in Hawaii of Chinese descent. But that does not necessarily make him an American citizen because that was a colony or an American territory. So I don't know is what I'm saying.
Okay. So because he's a Chinese cop. Mm-hmm. He's got a badge.
He's a cop in Honolulu, and as he says to people, all that means is he's a snitch. Basically, he used him as reading some of the back stuff when I originally read this. This is what the actual police officer that they took to make Charlie Chan out of was a Honolulu cop and did things like what he's doing. Going into an opium den, finding out who's in trouble, snitching on them, going into gambling dens because they were... It's hard to put an undercover agent in that is... You can't stick a white guy in an opium den without them standing out, pretty much. So
Right. Well, and also, I mean, yes, I understand that. Oh God, Charlie Chan, we'll talk about it in a second. But the he also is conflicted also because there's that one part where he ends up having to rat out the kid. The kid says, you know, when the kid's got the body that he finds, and then he ends up having to, you know, to help out, but he feels bad because he's betrayed the kid. Also, at the very beginning, the guy that's hooked on opium, he ends up helping bring him in. So it's just
he felt less bad about him.
Yeah, that guy was probably not a good guy.
Yeah.
So there's that.
He felt bad about the little kid that was... He felt bad about the little kid that told him about the dead body. But then remember, if he weren't stuck in hadn't been stuck in that detention center, they were going to try to hang that body on him.
Right.
I mean, that was the closest Asian to it. Well, clearly you killed the guy.
Yeah. Dead white guy shows up in Chinatown.
Yeah. We
Bad things are going to happen.
Which Chinese dude did it.
Yeah.
It's just
and I can't find... What's the daughter's name? The Caraway daughter? Anyways. So he's coming there because Ivy was helping taking care of Mason Caraway and is taken off, has disappeared.
She's disappeared. That's correct.
And so Eddie brings him in to try to help. And then you get to hear about, I forget the name of the boogeyman, but the hatchet men, and the one that said he was going to get revenge and all the people that, you know, got him essentially cast out, or why he had to go into hiding.
Years before they got rid of the Tongs, which is the Chinese mafia, and now one of the killers for them appears to have returned. That's who killed the white guy, and he's killing with a hatchet. And you find out later, at the end of it, he ends up killing, at the end of this volume, he ends up killing the Eric Caraway? Eddie Caraway ends up killing Eddie Caraway, and they rip off the mask, and it appears to be a white guy.
Yes.
But then doesn't... That kind of ends right there, right? That's
yes.
Boom, it ended.
I was shocked because I thought, for some reason, I didn't look ahead. I didn't try to even look and see how many volumes it was. I thought, wow, they got one issue to wrap a lot of stuff up here. And then they end with, look, I guess spoiler, this came out. No, I don't know if I want to, how much I want to spoil. It had the cliffhanger, the crap out of it. In case anybody wants to read this, it's just very much worth reading.
Yeah. You're listening to a podcast where we're talking about it. We're going to talk about the stuff.
Yeah, so
I did at least wait till 3 seconds in. Normally, you're like, oh, and by the way, at the end of it, they kill Eddie Caraway.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about we're going to talk about the good Asian. I won't get into that, but at the end, Eddie Caraway, one of these main characters, dies.
Who knew? It's weird.
You've actually gotten better at that. You've learned to build a little.
Yeah, but it's hard, man. I just want to jump in and let's go. Let's do this thing. Oh, Victoria's the name of the
hot
Caraway
sister
daughter. And then you have that whole weird thing where you get the feeling that Edison liked Victoria. Victoria never liked him. And when Eddie goes and gets a hooker, maybe there's some similarity in the way she looks.
Sure looked exactly like her.
I thought for a second there
that it was her, didn't you? Yes, because you're supposed to think that.
So there's all that.
Yes.
So yeah, the Edison's got some conflict. You know what it made me think of, and I don't know if I've ever told you this before, and I've never. Now with everything online, I should really go do some ancestry stuff. My great-grandfather apparently was one of the first, if not the first, Hispanic sheriff's deputy for Bexar County, and reading this made me think about him being, Mexican American, but a cop back then, and what that must have been like.
Standing in two worlds.
Yeah, because he was. I heard one of the only ones probably, and I heard the first one. And then, unfortunately, he was shot down in the line of duty and left a bunch of kids for my great-grandmother to raise. And that's a whole other story. But yeah, so that made me think about that, which made me think I need to ask my mom more stories about him. There apparently was a song in Spanish written about him that the neighborhood they were from, everybody knew. And she actually sang it to my niece many Christmases ago that she remembered it. Anyways, it just made me think of that. And then it also made me think about just him walking, being in two worlds, whatever. The white power structure versus the reference of being one of the good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's Chinese. They're so blah blah blah. But you're one of the good ones,
Mm-hmm.
Edison. I've heard that term used for every race, every ethnicity, depending on
Yep. Which means it means you're betraying your race somehow.
Yeah,
At least when they're like, oh no, you're just a regular person
yeah,
and you're not meeting these ridiculously stupid stereotypes that racists have.
yeah. No, it's just weird. What was the name of the boogeyman? There's actually a name, and then you find out that maybe that's Ivy's dad.
Yeah, Ivy, or maybe Ivy's related to him. Yes. I can't
Because her
remember
and
it.
another young lady went missing about the same time.
Hmm.
Oh shit. Okay, so then you get introduced. I wrote his name down. Terrence Chang, a lawyer,
Yes. And
Chinese American or Chinese lawyer. So
Ivy's
that
friend was Holly because it's
Holly,
Ivy and
thank you,
Holly.
thank you,
Yeah,
Ivy and Holly.
I only remembered it because of that.
You meet Terrence Chang. He's too perfect.
Chinese American, perfect politician in Chinatown, is worked with because of Eddie Calloway, his father. They decided that the best way to help bring Chinatown into it, because they really are trying to be the white people that really do actual good things. That I will give them, from looking at this, even though it's fairly clear that Eddie's dad fucks the help as long as they're Asian, or I mean that seems fairly implied, right?
Yeah, yeah,
All right,
pretty much.
because that was what the fight was about. By the way,
Yes,
when you say
yes.
what was the fight about, that was what Edison and Mr. Carraway were arguing about. Were you sleeping with my mom? And his mom gets murdered. That's another thing. And the only reason he feels the only reason that the murderer got caught was because Mr. Calloway took care of it. But read volume 2. So,
Okay,
but
Terrence
Holly,
Chang.
Terrence
Okay.
Chang is this upright guy. He's having money from Callaway, and other investors are coming in, and they've opened a nightclub. They're doing all sorts of things in here. And when they're
Well,
investigating,
yeah.
Holly, they're talking to her sister, and she comes out with a whole stack of money and a film canister. So they get it
Uh huh.
developed, and that young man swings for the wrong team for 1936.
Oh yeah, and they use some choice
And they have good
epithets
blackmail.
for being gay.
Yes. Yes, they do.
That I don't know that some of them in context you get them. I don't know if I think one of them is poof.
You've never heard that?
If I had it been it was
Huh.
even outdated in the 80s, man.
Okay.
Poof. I don't know. It just I was like, yeah. I mean, 1936. It
Hmm.
would not be shocking at all. Of course.
Yeah, yeah. Gay people have been around for a long time, huh?
What? What? I thought the first gay person ever was Jack Tripper on Three's Company, and he wasn't even real. He was a fake. So they're at one point they're opening this new nightclub, and this dude comes in a costume and just starts killing people. There's all that. It's just there's for 4 issues it's really well done, and
Hmm.
it keeps going and it keeps going, and then it ends on the cliffhanger, and then I'm like, fuck. All right, I'm gonna have to finish reading that probably this weekend.
Hmm.
Not a long read either. I mean, it's not like it's not supersized issues or anything.
No.
I mean, I was just thinking the other day to read a regular length comic book, not like a Kingdom Come or Cosmic Odyssey that they jam pack too many pages in there sometimes. Or not too many, it's just bigger than usual.
Hmm.
10, 15 minutes a comic book, if that.
If that, yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on how good
So,
it is too. Because I mean, I told you I ran through Gwenpool last time in about 30 minutes. The whole,
yeah.
just because it was well written, well paced, and enjoyable.
Yeah.
This one's a little. This is a completely different kind of comic book, so it takes a little longer because there's a lot more going on. Because it's not that kind of action; it's a different kind of action because there's a lot of action in it. But there was a really great thing where he is working with a young lady that works at the telephone exchange
Oh, yeah.
as an operator, and she really digs him until she finds out who he is on that other side, and she slaps the crap out of him, and he says, what do you think an Oriental cop does?
Yeah.
I'm a snitch. I go into opium dens and I go into gambling halls and I snitch on people.
Yeah.
Because she was shocked at that, because they were like, well, he had my this arrested, and yep, He sure did. That's what cops do. That's their job, to arrest people.
Do you ever find out why Victoria hates him so much? The Caraway daughter? Is it because he
You
is an interloper?
you need
Do you ever in the next volume? Or
yes.
because I don't see anything that I remember reading in this where that
Yes,
gives us.
read the next
Okay.
volume. You don't want me to spoil things, so I can't
No, no,
say.
no. I just wanted to find out.
No, I know. I'm just going to tell you. I literally cannot tell you anything that goes on in
Okay.
that because anything I say will spoil just huge amounts of it.
Okay, that's fine.
I,
You
I,
also
I
meet the.
probably should have had us read the whole thing.
Maybe. It's okay. I'll read it. You also read the quintessential white cop, Detective O'Malley.
Oh yeah,
That is just. I'm not again. I mean, I was about to say stereotypical, but probably just.
that's. I don't think it's stereotypical. It's just who every single one of those guys was on the take. Really racist. Yeah.
Well, and it's just funny because I always get this confused, and this might be racist on my part at some level. O'Malley's an Irish name?
Yes.
Okay. Well, because not too long before this is set in 36, Irish folks, people coming over in the Northeast, they weren't treated so great
That's
by
true.
the locals.
Yes.
So it's just I'm wondering if the author did that on purpose to make O'Malley the guy treating. They could have made him Smith,
Sure.
or Johnson.
Yeah.
Because
Or the fact that there's tons of Irish cops.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that was one of the ways the Irish really got out of being made their way into being white is in New York as cops and Boston as cops and firemen, and so same thing there. And that was the time where your police forces were going to start being littered with the Irish.
okay. I was wondering if that was on purpose.
I don't mean littered with Irish in a derogatory
Because
way.
they're trash.
Speaking,
Because you hate the Irish.
I will guarantee you I am a whole lot more Irish than you are.
What? What?
And I'm taller.
I bleed green.
You should really see a doctor.
I think I have a disorder. I think you might have
I mean, died when I was young, but my grandfather, Hugh Francis Burke. So
You know what? We haven't mentioned any of this. Written by, I'm going to say the names phonetically. Pornsak Pichetshote. Pichetshote. Pichetshote.
I'm just going to say the people that wrote and did the art for this did an incredibly good job.
Alexandre TefenkgUncle
the art
TefenkgUncle.
The art and layout on these pages is awesome. Great. I mean, it is just I have a screenshot of one, and it's it's a conversation in a car, but it's got puzzle pieces broken out with stuff that had gone on, and it's just the layout is just awesome.
It is incredible. For the type of comic book it is, the crime noir. It reminded me of some of the other crime noir stuff we've done. Very well done. Just very well done. Oh, the cover art is all. There's the variant covers. I dig the covers. I mean, I will buy a comic book based on a cover, and these were beautiful, eye-catching covers. So
it is very much like some of the other noir stuff I have forced you to read. The thing that's nice about this is it goes back to the era where the noir stuff started. So this is not just, hey, we're doing this, but we're going to do it in the 2000s. We're doing this, but we're going to do it in 1936. We're going to do it when they were writing a lot of these detective stories, the ones that were made into movies. This is a great time to set it for everything that he wanted to do in it.
Speaking of those movies, so growing up on Sunday afternoons after Mass in San Antonio, if it wasn't football season and the Cowboys were on, you would watch, there would be, early in the morning, first of all, on Sundays, they would have Blondie and Dagwood, old reruns of those movies, based on the comic strip.
Okay.
You'd have some Three Stooges sometimes mixed in there. You'd have Wild Wild West reruns.
I liked Wild Wild West.
You'd have some Charlie Chan movies that they would show sometimes on a Sunday, mid-morning, early afternoon. I remember really liking those Charlie Chan movies.
I've never watched a Charlie Chan movie.
Son number 1, Son number 2. Then, since then, and actually not too long ago, for some reason, something came on and it made me do a little bit of a deep dive on Charlie Chan. Yeah, in hindsight, those were incredibly racist. Most of the time, Charlie Chan was portrayed by a white guy in, I don't know if you'd call that yellow face or yellow makeup. and they put in the fake teeth and the weird whiskers, and it was just over the top. I haven't had the wherewithal, nor do I think I will, to go back and try to watch a clip or two of the old Charlie Chan movies on YouTube or something, but maybe I will. But I remember liking them, and then I was like, oh no, those are wildly racist. Because I also used to watch back in the 80s the old on PBS the old Sherlock Holmes mysteries.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, with what's his face, the greatest Sherlock Holmes ever, whose name is escaping me. But anyways,
Benedict Cumberbatch.
no. Although I did like Sherlock, and he was really good in that. But no, at one point in time, I was really into Sherlock Holmes, Poirot, Agatha Christie stuff. A lot of Agatha Christie there for a while, and of course all the Sherlock Holmes stuff. But the Charlie Chan, yeah, just incredibly racist. But then you also like Maltese Falcon.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know there's other detective stuff from back then. Obviously, what else?
I've read a lot of detective books in my time. I very much enjoy them, and lots of more pulpy ones. I've read a lot of Spencer books that they made the TV show Spencer for Hire
Spencer,
from,
Spencer,
they came from books, and I've read tons of those. I've read my favorite is Elvis Cole. We've talked about that when we went down that list from, was it Stumptown that had the list of
detectives?
Was it Stumptown or was it Jessica Jones that had it? One of those two in the background in one of the things. I think, okay, because it had just the yellow pages. Yeah, because it had the yellow pages of just all of it had Sherlock Holmes, it had Elvis Cole, it had just, it was brilliant because I was going down that list going, oh, I've read books from, I've read that, I've read that.
Yeah, nice.
It was a lot of fun.
My Sherlock Holmes is Jeremy Brett. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, well, that's all right.
From the 80s, in case you ever happen upon. I tried to rewatch those a while back. They're a little slow, especially having watched Sherlock with Cumberbatch and what's his face. But it was still fun to watch a little bit of that. What else? Oh, speaking of crime noir, have you ever seen Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid?
When I was a kid, I don't remember it at all. I saw it 2 days in a row at the little theater by my house, and then I never saw it again.
Steve Martin.
Yes.
Yeah. It cuts up all the old crime noir movies, and he inserts himself in it.
Okay. See, I thought that's what I read later, but I don't think I even noticed it. I think we just went to the movies because we were young. I forget what year it came out.
Long time ago. We rewatched it in the last 10 years.
Okay.
If not the last 5 years. I love that movie.
I should try it. I should try it out at some point if I can find
Humphrey
it.
Bogart's in it.
Well,
yeah, because they're cutting from all the...
Not willingly.
I'm hopefully they pay the estate something. But a bunch of people. I mean, a bunch of actors, male and female actors. It's really, I don't know. I really liked it. So this also, just since we're talking about the crime noir, that just made me think of that. It's like, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. I need to watch that again and again and again. What else is there, sir, to say about this? I liked it a lot. I liked it better than my suggestion. Different, though.
It's completely different. It's a real apples to oranges type thing. The only thing you can say about it is they're both fruit, and one of them's good.
Yeah, they both don't.
But in fairness, I was comparing apples to oranges. They're both fruit, and one of them's good. Oranges. There, I've compared them, and I did that also went through. I compared these. They're both fruit. Clearly one's an orange, and it's mine, and it was good. Anyway, that was a joke.
They both.
I liked both
themes
of them.
in common.
Mm-hmm.
There's fear of the
Foreigner.
other.
Yes,
foreigner. Yeah, that's one. I mean, that's the only one I can think of. So, surprise, surprise.
Wow, it's been a while since we compared and contrasted.
I know, right? We stopped doing that.
We did.
I don't think we ever really did.
We didn't. But we tried it sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we would.
I'm really sad that there's no mail. So everybody, if you do want to contact us,
and why wouldn't
I don't know.
You?
I don't mean to cut off talking about this.
Fine.
Do you have anything else?
No. And why wouldn't you want to contact us? I mean, clearly you were just, the reason you're not is we're not telling you how to contact us. So you can go to our webpage at Hav and Charles Talk. No, just havandcharles.com. havandcharles.com. JAVANDCHARLES.com. And click the link at the top that says send Hav mail, and you can email us right from there. And Hav will get very excited, and we'll read it, and we'll talk about it. As long as you say it, as long as you don't tell us, don't read it on the air. And I don't know why you would send us an email that you didn't want us to read on the air. But if you do need to, get in touch with us that way. for something else, say, hey, don't read this. I just need you to know that Hav murdered a man, and can you do something about that? And I'll say, no, I probably can't. I'm going to need more information, and maybe you should go to the police. And what I'm saying is, I got this email that I'm not supposed to read on the air.
Yeah, and if you know what's good for you, I know where you live, Charles. I like you. I don't want to,
So what you're saying is I should just cut this bit out.
Yeah.
I thought I was doing a bit, and now I'm just going to cut all of this out.
Yeah, send us an email. My Twitter is at HavGonzoTweets. Charles's Twitter is at HerringRedReel. We're still on the Twitter because
Blue Sky won't let us in yet.
Say again.
Because Blue Sky won't let us in yet.
I don't know what Blue Sky is.
Blue Sky is Jack's Twitter replacement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's getting some buzz right now, hard, but it's still invite only. It's in a beta, and all the elite jackasses that are over there are loving it, and they're saying it's not bad. And they're actually then there's whining from people saying, well, why did they allow Jack to leave and start another one? And when they bought his shares, I don't think they bought his shares. I think he still owns part of it. They converted his shares, so they didn't have to buy as many. So his converted, and now he still owns parts of Twitter. So he's off doing another thing, and they're saying, yeah, i.e. he had an idea how to make Twitter better, so he's doing that over there.
And apparently Blood Diamond Boy didn't think to have him sign a non-compete or something.
I don't. How would he make him sign a non-compete?
You pay him. You got to pay for it.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
and the money when you do it that way, you can't make him. That's why I loved that. The Twitter thread I read were like, why didn't they force him to do this? You literally can't force somebody to sign a non-compete.
Yeah, you can't. No. You either pay them a ton of money, and if money doesn't matter to them, you got no leverage.
Yeah.
That's interesting. No, because you know what? So we're still there. And then the on Twitter, I thought Hive was okay there for a second. It still is. It's just, it was okay. Tumblr's okay. It's just, I don't know. I'm used to Twitter.
Yes.
The webpage, the podcast has a Twitter handle run by the unpaid intern that is J and C Talk Comics.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Right? Is that right? At J and spelled out C Talk Comics. I'm almost positive. So yeah, if you have a thought, if you want to, give a suggestion of something to read, you want to tell us how great or not great we are, anything, let us know, please.
Yes, please do. Please do. We would very much like to hear from y'all. And you can. I made a joke earlier where I said I'm definitely taller than you, and that's in reference to a tweet that the unpaid intern made when we dropped the latest episode. So
yeah,
that you haven't seen yet. So
no, we're recording this on Thursday, April 27th. I didn't know the new episode had already dropped, so
I dropped it early.
Yay! Yeah. Anything else, sir?
No, I guess that's about it. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Hav, thank you for doing this with me. It's always fun.
Yeah, it was, but are we going to suggest anything for next time?
Oh, Jesus. That would actually be a really good idea. And I mean, I even teased mine. What do you got? What do you want to do? What do you want to read? Come on.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Now you're about to just wrap it up without even doing that. And now you're like, give it to me. Don't hold back. What's the word on the street?
Dude, it's been a long 2 weeks.
No, I know. Tom Strong. It's DC.
Okay.
Let's just read the first arc, which I think, if there's not a true arc,
I don't know what Tom Strong is.
It's a comic book character with a comic book.
Thanks,
title.
Dude.
It's on DC. It's by Alan Moore.
Okay.
When he was doing his America's Best Comics.
Okay. Tom Strong. Is that on Hoopla or is it on DC?
DC.
Okay.
And I'll take a look and see, because I think it's just the first volume is 36 issues from 1999.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I don't think we're going to do all 36. Maybe we just start with the first, maybe 4 to 6.
Okay.
That'd probably be the way to go. So
okay.
I was going to say something completely different. I will say this is for me, a little bit of an outlier because it is a single character title.
That's true. I got you, fam. I got you. You ready?
Yeah.
Flashpoint.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Have you never read it? Have you ever read it? You have? Oh, you don't like it. You don't like Flashpoint?
They did it, and then they did it again, and they've been playing with it. And isn't it pretty much what they're going to base the new Flash movie kind of sort of on?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but they've done it in some other things, but this is where this came from.
I know. It's the first one.
Yeah.
But then, like anything, okay.
Well, oh, wow. Hey. Don't do me to me.
Well, no, I was going to say, let's see. Let's see how this goes. Because no,
Wow. Now I'm not gonna be able to take it as well as you can.
No, for some reason, it's one of those things where maybe it was the first time they did it and it was good. It just, I feel like they've gone back to that. When did Flashpoint come out? Do you know?
No.
Okay. Well, we'll get to talk all about it. Because I
Man.
want to say 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. I've got to say, I read this. Well, I actually read this after I had read when they did it in the Flash TV show, and I liked it in the Flash TV show. And then I
was
went
it?
and I read this, and I really liked the stuff. And then I've watched the movie where they did it, and I liked the real one when they actually did the Flashpoint. I watched the cartoon movie, and I enjoyed it. So I don't see what your holdup on this is, but that's fine.
You're talking about the one from Jeff Johns did, right?
Yes.
Okay. It's not that old. Wow, it's only 2011. I thought it was a lot older.
Well, that's pretty old for me.
That is, this is going back a ways. You know what? And also there's another one back then around the same time. Is that Identity Crisis came out?
Yeah, but
then,
Identity Crisis. Yeah, we've talked about Identity.
We've talked about it. We never read
Identity Crisis was. Yeah, I'm sure you'll suggest that at some point, and I'll reread it. I've read it a couple of times. We can definitely do that. But I did not expect your reaction. That's the first massively negative reaction I've ever gotten when I suggested something.
That's sorry, awesome. I didn't know. No, you know what?
That's awesome.
I'm not gonna, because I do like. I
didn't know Hav could dislike things, ladies and gentlemen.
I really like I'm looking at some stuff right now. I really like the animated movie they did about it. It was interesting.
Yes.
And I'm hoping.
And I like the Batman in it and the whole Batman part of it. And I'm telling you, that's one of the reasons why I want to see
the new movie,
the new Flash movie, even though the stuff, and I know it won't be good because it's a DC movie, and I'm going to be horrified because I really want it to be good.
No, you know what? I think I'm conflating a lot of stuff from back then, and also just for some reason I poo-poo. I can use the big boy words. I shit on DC a lot because when they find something that works.
Oh yeah, they beat it to
the shit out of that dead horse.
So does Marvel.
Whether it's the Flashpoint stuff that they kept on kind of redoing, or like Batman being everything, or the Joker laugh. The Batman laughs, Joker this, Joker that.
Yeah, no, they ride some stuff to the ground, but so does Marvel.
No, they do.
I mean, they all do that. I do think I do kind of think that DC probably does it a little worse, but.
Or maybe it was that I don't think I read everything associated with it, because I think the main series is like 6 issues, whatever. Yeah. But it's one of those where if you read everything, you'd be reading like 100 issues of comics.
Yeah, I'm not talking about doing that. We're just going to read the Flashpoint that's on Hoopla, just the regular.
Okay. Or we change this into the Flashpoint podcast.
I'm not okay with that.
Okay.
You have to run all changes by me. Well, it doesn't matter. You can try to change whatever you want. I control everything.
Yeah, you do. I'm going to take a lot of notes on Flashpoint.
Ooh, I bet you will.
I'm going to take a lot of notes on Flashpoint.
You know what I'm not going to do? Take a bunch of notes. I didn't say I won't take notes. I'm not going to take a bunch of notes. Even if I take notes, it won't be a bunch of notes. Although I did really enjoy what I did when I've read it and then sat down and type up some stuff. We did a podcast where I actually did that, and it was nice, but ain't nobody got time for that.
Right? Right. It's also nice to just sit on the recliner and sit back with my pad and not have to worry about, I got to sit up and write some notes down.
It is. It is.
There's that.
Well, that's what I'm saying is it's what I finish reading it and then just go type up some thoughts. I need to do that, or write down some thoughts after I've read it, not one at a time as I go. I'm not as big worried about names as you are. Since I never can keep names in my head for some reason, I don't worry about it as much, and I've got you for that, which I appreciate greatly. I am overly excited about 2 things coming out this summer.
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Volume 3, thank you very much.
All right. And Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
The second one. I could be hurt very badly with my expectations. I'm hoping I will not be, but I am terrified of my expectations of those 2 movies.
Yeah,
They're really, really high.
Okay. How high were your expectations for the last Spider-Man movie?
Not that high.
Okay.
Because we've talked about those Spider-Man movies. I like them, but they're not the Spider-Man movies I want. So I'm okay with them.
For the Guardians of the Galaxy thing, a little bit of a tangent, but on Vice TV, they have that Icons series, and they did one on the beginnings to the end, essentially up to the beginning of Phase 2 of Marvel Cinematic Universe. And one episode essentially is about making the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So if Vice TV, Icons, and something Marvel MCU,
okay.
If you have access to Vice TV, really good, because we've talked about it before. No, Guardians of the Galaxy, huh? But I'll have you know, the two of the people they featured heavily, Dan Abnett Andy Lanning, writers of the volume that I told you to read when it was coming out, and and James Gunn holds up a copy of their comic books.
The Annihilation Wave.
Yeah, or some of
So
the
it was
stuff
the
they were doing back
Annihilation
then.
Wave. That was what
Yeah,
that
it was
was.
Annihilation. Yeah, yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
It was cool.
I think I need to go back and reread that now.
I've been thinking about suggesting it.
No, that's too long.
Well, there's a limited one. There you can read like the introduction to it.
Okay. I mean, we could do it, but I mean, good Lord, we'd have to break it up over like 8 podcasts.
No, or the first volume, because right after that, that's when they launched Guardians of the Galaxy as its own proper.
And I would
series.
be so angry as we did it.
No, I think you know what? I'm not worried about Guardians of the Galaxy. James Gunn, James Gunn, I trust.
Sure. Until he gets his, I don't know, he might lose his dick at DC. I mean, come on.
I think if he
made an okay Suicide Squad movie and
I thought it was great.
a fairly amusing TV show so far, but he has not knocked it out of the park yet.
Okay.
He has not come close to what he did with Guardians.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, sure. I think he did.
That's the bar.
I thought what he did. Let's see.
That's the bar. He's got to be that his stuff. If he's going to do a Superman movie, it has to be at the level of Guardians.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be as good. And I'm not saying it has to be the same style because it's a Superman movie. It's not a Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
You're not excited about Marvels? Is that coming out this year?
I am, but I'm not as worried about that because I don't have as high an expectations of it because it's not the sequel to what I think of as the best superhero comic book movie ever made, and it's not the third movie of one of my all-time favorite comic book movies, which those Guardian of the Galaxy movies they were made for us, man. They were made for Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark fans. They did a mashup of Star Wars and the Raiders of the Lost Ark and called it a fucking comic book movie.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty good with all the pop references to pop culture references, and yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, they said here Gen X nerd boys jerk off to this, and by God, we did.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm super psyched. I mean, I'm so behind. I'm so behind on stuff because I'm so tired. A lot of times I'm just like, I have a chance to watch one show and maybe watch something that's kind of coming out now. Like I've watched one episode of Picard, one episode of Mandalorian. I haven't watched Cocaine Bear. It's streaming.
You haven't watched Cocaine Bear.
I
don't know why you brought that up. I have not watched.
It's not a superhero movie, but come on, it's Cocaine Bear.
I haven't watched Cocaine Bear, nor will I.
There's just so much stuff. There's so much good stuff too. So I'm looking forward to both those for sure.
Cool.
Also looking forward to The Flash, and because hey Caesar, this is for you because the best Batman ever is in it again, Michael Keaton. Anyways, so okay, that was our tangent.
I don't count us going off and talking about comic book movies as much of a tangent since this is a comic book podcast.
This is true.
I mean, you know what you're getting into. You bought your ticket.
Exactly. Hey, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Shoot, I had a thought and it's gone. Oh well.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Hav, for. Oh wait, what? No, I'm just kidding.
You got. I was like, oh, there's something else. No, thank you, Charles, for doing the podcast with me. Thank you, as always, for doing the heavy lifting, the production, the editing, using the computer technology, inner tubes to publish it. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Bye.
Bye.